A newlywed couple suddenly found themselves burdened with the responsibility of raising an infant born with paralysis, questioning if they were truly prepared for such an immense challenge. One quiet afternoon, while their 5-month-old baby peacefully slept, their lively German Shepherd puppy Rex performed an act so extraordinary it brought them both to tears. They could only call it a miracle. The doorbell rang out with an unyielding urgency that shattered the gentle calm of their home. Nathan, deeply immersed in his computer coding, barely registered the sound, while his wife, Elise, fresh from a long shift to the hospital and eager to relax in their charming new residence on Oak Avenue, remained blissfully unaware of the unfolding events outside. After several insistent rings, Nathan reluctantly tore himself away from his desk and opened the door. There, standing on the threshold, was a disheveled and desperate woman clutching a neatly swaddled infant. Her tired eyes and ragged appearance made it clear that the orderly rhythm of their lives was about to be overturned. Nathan, utterly surprised, realized he had no inkling of who she was or where she might have come from. She looked as though she hadn't slept or eaten in days. Although he felt sympathy for her plight, his curiosity piqued as he wondered why she was knocking on his door. Just when he thought she might simply be in need of a meal or a kind word, her trembling voice cut through his thoughts. "Please, I can't care for him anymore. He's yours now." Stunned into silence, Nathan accepted the tiny infant, wrapped in a faded blue blanket, as the woman pressed a crumpled letter into his hand before hastily disappearing down the street. In the span of mere moments, he was left dazed, gazing at the sleeping child in his arms. "Wait," he called out desperately, but by the time his voice echoed into the distance, she had already melted away around a corner, leaving him to wonder if chasing after a mysterious stranger while cradling a baby was even possible. Heart-pounding, Nathan studied the peaceful face of the infant with a mix of confusion and foreboding. Not long after Elise arrived, her eyes widening at the unexpected sight of her husband standing on the doorstep with a baby in his arms. For a fleeting moment, her mind wandered into unsettling territories, briefly suspecting Nathan of betrayal, but she quickly dismissed the thought, trusting him completely as she awaited an explanation. Without a word, Nathan handed her the letter, and together they read its contents, their expressions growing more somber with every line. The letter revealed that the desperate woman, overwhelmed by her inability to care for her child, had entrusted him to Nathan and Elise because she believed the couple could provide the nurturing care he needed. She explained that she had given birth 3 months earlier, had no family to turn to, and that the child's father had abandoned them the moment he discovered the baby was paralyzed from the waist down. Though she claimed no fault, society had judged her harshly, as though bearing a child with disabilities somehow made her culpable. In a torrent of tears, she admitted she had reached her breaking point and needed to take care of herself, yet she remained deeply apologetic as she expressed her confidence that Nathan and Elise would fill the void with love and attentive care. Alongside the letter was an additional document granting them legal custody, even though no birth certificate had been provided. Elise's maternal instincts surged forth as she cradled the infant and brought him inside, soothing him with soft, comforting whispers. Despite the shock and uncertainty, both she and Nathan instinctively knew they must rise to this unforeseen challenge and become the devoted parents the child so desperately needed. In time, they embraced their new roles wholeheartedly, naming the baby Ethan, and soon found themselves falling deeply in love with him. The early days were grueling, as Ethan required urgent medical evaluation to assess his condition and monitor the extent of his paralysis. Elise even arranged several weeks off from work, using her vacation time, while the hospital proved generous with her extended leave. Relief came when the doctors confirmed that Ethan's paralysis was not a life sentence. Although he might never fully use his legs, there was every possibility that he could lead an independent, fulfilling life. The sleepless nights, endless diaper changes, and ceaseless care became their new reality. Once they had settled into this challenging routine, Nathan and Elise consulted their attorney, who advised that since all attempts to locate Ethan's biological mother had failed, they could move forward with a formal adoption. A signed agreement from the mother ensured that the adoption could proceed without dispute. Ever compassionate, Elise agreed to the legal adoption, all the while clinging to a quiet hope that the biological mother might someday return to reconnect with her son. Yet, fate had yet another surprise in store. One crisp morning, while the couple was slowly adjusting to their transformed life, Elise discovered a small, scruffy German Shepherd puppy shivering in their backyard. Its fur was matted, and it looked both lost and terrified. Without hesitation, she scooped the puppy up and brought him inside. Nathan, initially wary of the additional responsibility, soon found his concerns eased by Elise's determined kindness. They promptly took the little fellow to the veterinarian. The vet confirmed that although the puppy was a stray without any form of identification, and nursing only a minor ailment, he was otherwise healthy. However, the puppy, who they later named Rex, was noticeably cautious around strangers. He quickly grew fond of Elise, yet maintained a reserved distance from Nathan. Moreover, Rex exhibited bouts of restlessness whenever Elise was tending to baby Ethan, a sign that troubled Nathan, who even considered giving up the puppy out of concern for Ethan's safety. Then, a few days later, Nathan decided to take Rex out for a morning walk. During that stroll, the timid pup gradually warmed up to him, and Nathan dared to hope that in time, Rex would also bond with Ethan. As the weeks passed, life became a dizzying dance of balancing demanding hospital shifts, office work, household chores, and the constant care of both Ethan and Rex. Elise juggled her hectic job with late-night feedings and diaper changes, while Nathan rearranged his work commitments to lend a hand at home. Their families were supportive but busy, and when they did visit, Rex would sometimes bark furiously at outsiders, clearly asserting his role as guardian of his new family. Yet, even amid the chaos, rays of joy shone through. Ethan's contagious laughter and Rex's playful antics filled their home with light, even on the most exhausting days. Still, challenges were far from over. One evening, after an exceptionally taxing day, Elise noticed that Ethan had developed a stubborn fever. As the temperature lingered for hours, panic set in, and they rushed him to the hospital. In the midst of this turmoil, however, a glimmer of hope emerged. After a battery of tests, the doctors emerged with astonishing news. Before we continue, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It means the world to us. Thank you. They confirmed that Ethan was suffering from a rare condition that temporarily paralyzed his legs, suggesting that there was a real chance he might regain movement. Overwhelmed with relief and joy, the couple marveled at this unexpected miracle. Though the doctor could not pinpoint exactly when recovery might occur, he urged them to stay optimistic and provided detailed advice on preventing infections in Ethan's delicate state. Elise's explanation of their careful caregiving even earned the doctor's praise, and he scheduled a follow-up appointment in 2 months, hopeful for further progress. Ethan's condition demanded constant vigilance and specialized attention, so Nathan and Elise took turns staying home to care for him, their hearts heavy as they watched their little boy struggle. Clinging to hope, they drew strength from one another. During this trying time, Rex remained steadfast by Ethan's side, his loyal presence offering comfort in the darkness. One night, utterly exhausted, Nathan dozed off on the living room couch while Elise ran errands. The baby monitor on the coffee table crackled softly, serving as a silent sentinel over Ethan's crib. At Nathan's feet lay Rex, alert and attentive, his ears pricked at every sound. Despite his earlier reserve, Rex had grown inseparable from Ethan, as if instinctively understanding that the child required extra protection. A sudden gentle thud startled Rex awake, and he bolted toward Ethan's room, driven purely by instinct. There he discovered that while sleeping, Ethan had managed to slip through the narrow slats of his crib, leaving him dangerously teetering over the edge. The top of his head pressed against the floor as his fragile body dangled in a precarious position. Given that Ethan's legs were paralyzed, he was incapable of righting himself, and his head and neck lacked the strength to hold his weight for much longer. A fall at that moment could have been fatal. In a miraculous display of loyalty, the tiny German Shepherd puppy carefully nudged Ethan back toward the crib with his nose, using his small body as a shield against further harm. Nathan awoke to the sound of distressed whimpers and hurried to the nursery. The sight that greeted him filled his heart with gratitude. He arrived just in time to witness Rex's final valiant effort to push Ethan safely back into his crib. Rushing over to the spot where Rex now stood guard, Nathan saw Ethan lying securely once more, his tiny hands clinging to the puppy's fur. Tears welled in his eyes as he marveled at the profound bond that had formed between Rex and his son. Soon after, Elise returned home to find Nathan and Ethan resting in the nursery, with Rex curled protectively beside them. Overcome with emotion, she quietly joined them, deeply thankful for the makeshift family they had become. Days turned into weeks, and slowly but surely, Ethan's condition began to improve. The temporary paralysis receded, and he gradually started regaining movement in his legs. Nathan and Elise were overjoyed, their hearts brimming with hope for a brighter future. As they adapted to the delicate balancing act of work, parenting, and caring for Rex, a comforting routine began to take shape. Ethan continued to grow stronger, his laughter and bright smiles dispelling even the darkest moments, while Rex remained a loyal companion, ever by his side. On one radiant afternoon, the family gathered in their backyard for a picnic. Now a rambunctious toddler, Ethan dashed around, chasing Rex as his joyful laughter echoed across the lawn. Nathan and Elise watched with contented smiles, their hearts full of gratitude. In that moment, they realized that the life-altering event that had brought Ethan into their world was, in fact, a hidden blessing, a twist of fate that had bound them together through love and shared struggle. Yet, fate was not finished with surprises. A few days later, the doorbell rang once again. Rex sprinted to the door, with toddler Ethan playfully toddling right behind him. Nathan, nearest to the entrance, stepped forward and opened the door, only to have the color drain from his face at the sight before him. It was Ethan's biological mother standing on their doorstep. Immediately, Nathan called out for Elise. When she arrived and saw both his shocked expression and the stranger at the door, her eyes welled with tears as she recognized the woman, her heart breaking at the thought that the mother might intend to reclaim her child. With a heavy heart, Elise stepped aside, allowing the woman and her companion to enter without protest. But the stranger made no move to cross the threshold. Instead, she handed Nathan a stack of papers and without another word departed, leaving behind a letter reminiscent of their first encounter. In her note, the woman, who introduced herself as Miranda, explained that she had finally received the help she desperately needed and was now in a stable state of mind. She apologized for her earlier actions and wished Nathan and Elise all the happiness and love they deserved. Miranda also stated that it was entirely up to them whether they chose to tell Ethan about her, and she promised never to contest custody since she had come to terms with her decision to move on, now even planning her own marriage to put the past behind her. Elise found Miranda's words somewhat self-centered, yet she could hardly cast judgment. After all, the ordeal of bearing Ethan and facing relentless criticism must have left deep scars. Though Elise longed to tell Miranda that Ethan was no longer paralyzed, the chance had passed. Instead, she smiled softly to herself as she prepared to share even more joyful news with Nathan. She was 8 weeks pregnant, another miracle to bless their little family. Looking forward, Nathan and Elise knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Their journey had taught them the true meaning of resilience, the power of love, and the unbreakable bonds of family. Cherishing every precious moment with Ethan, they felt immeasurably grateful for his strength and happiness, while Rex remained a constant, playful source of joy and loyalty. The bond between Rex and Ethan grew deeper with every passing day, a friendship destined to last a lifetime. Did you enjoy this tale? Do you believe that children and dogs can truly thrive together? Can a loyal puppy really save a life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you loved this heartwarming story, please subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Thank you so much for listening, and see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.
Disclaimer: this channel does not support or tolerate any form of discrimination, racism, prejudice, or violation of human rights. The stories presented here are original and created by the author with the aim of promoting reflection, awareness, and dialogue. All content is developed with respect for diversity and the dignity of all people.